part of our youth leadership program, to be using our minds to do a little bit of a puzzle.
We've got a new facility that we're proud as heck to show off.
We're actually digging up loosestrife and putting it in pots and trying to encourage it to grow so the beetles can eat it.
Hi, I'm Candice Ng, and you're watching The Sustainable Region. We're just west of Fort Langley at one of Metro Vancouver's smaller parks, Derby Reach. It's one of my favorite regional parks, small but packed full of great features and a great place to unplug and unwind. You can't help feeling relaxed as you watch the river flow by at Derby Reach Regional Park. The feeling permeates its rolling hills, big sky fields, and cathedral-like forests. Almost feels like you've entered a different time, and in some ways, you have. Almost 200 years ago, this site was bustling with Hudson Bay Company workers scratching out a living in a new land with help from the Stolo First Nation. The original Fort Langley was built here as the first European settlement on the BC mainland coast. The second version of this fort, now a National Historic Site, is only a 25-minute bike ride from here, along the Fort to Fort Trail. While you have to use your imagination to picture what stood at the first Fort Langley site, just across the street is the Heritage Farmstead, found in 1858 by James Houston. You can also follow this beautiful riverside trail to Edgewater Bar and Munich Bar, where interpretive art exhibits tell of times past. Both spots have been popular for fishing and picnicking for over 100 years. These giant black cottonwoods are the same ones that watched over those historic picnics and family gatherings. Derby Reach is perfect for a leisurely walk, bike, or horseback ride. Campers, dog walkers, and fishermen also come here for a little slice of river paradise. So why not join us? Set your watch to river time and watch the world float by at Derby Reach Regional Park.
Metro Vancouver Zero Waste Conference is October 16th. Hear global visionaries Dame Ellen MacArthur and Michael Braungart, and business leaders from Unilever, Loblaw, Walmart, and more. Art, science, and innovation influencing behavior and product design to achieve a zero-waste economy. Launching Canada's National Zero Waste Council, governments, businesses, and NGOs joining forces. Register now at metrovancouver.org.
Here in Langley and all over Metro Vancouver, you might spot some people on a treasure hunt of sorts. If you see someone with an iPhone or a GPS, chances are you've run across some geocachers.
The plan is to go along on the West Canyon Trail on this side of the canyon and find Tree Hugger, which is BC's oldest cache.
Jacqueline Sheppett is leading a group into Pacific Spirit Regional Park for an afternoon of geocaching.
Geocaching is finding something that's been hidden using coordinates entered into a GPS. Taking that GPS with you and trying to pinpoint the position where this thing has been hidden.
Geocachers get their coordinates from various websites such as geocaching.com. Smartphones and tablets can also be used.
I've never used this app before, so I'm really stoked that I finally get to use it.
There are about 30 geocaches in the park.
Metro Vancouver Regional Parks have a policy that encourages responsible geocaching that respects the environment. Geocaches must be placed on well-defined trails, and they need to have a very minimal impact on the environment.
This group is from Red Fox, a leadership program for Aboriginal youth.
Geocaching is part of our youth leadership program. We're constantly looking for different opportunities for the youth to build their skills and build their knowledge and their confidence.
So, no, that way.
Follow the trail here. For many of us, it's just a great opportunity to have a spiritual connection to the land that we're on, to connect with each other, to be using our minds to do a little bit of a puzzle and something tricky, and of course, just getting out there and being physically active.
I love being in the forest.
Some call it a sport, others say it's a game. Whatever it is, it can become an obsession.
How far do you have? I've got 40.
I got 43.
All right. I reckon this is the right side trail then.
Okay.
I thought it was fantastic. It was a walk in the woods, but there was a purpose. There was a reason to do it. Probably took me about 20 caches and I was hooked. And I've been caching for about 4 or 5 years and I found over 5,000 since.
The group is in search of a cache called Tree Hugger. It's BC's oldest cache, still going strong after more than a dozen years.
Okay, now I guess put the GPS away and start using your geosensors. It's got to be around here somewhere. We are that close.
It's somewhere around here. I heard someone like step on it. Jeannie found it.
All right, pull.
Tree Hugger is a very large cache.
The logbook's over here if you want to sign your name, guys.
It's an old ammunition box filled with all manner of goodies.
Trinkets, toys for the kids, tradable coins and whatnot. And so while you're signing the logbook, you may also choose to take one of the items. If you do take something, you put something in of equal value so that the geocaches aren't depleted.
You put the band-aids in there?
The band-aids are now in that bag right there.
I think for a lot of these youth, their world can be really small. So even coming to Pacific Spirit Park, which is just a 20-minute drive across town, can seem like a world away. We're suddenly in the trees, we can breathe fresh air. It's such a different environment and it's an incredible escape.
I just said Spanish thanks.
So we have 134 meters to go.
Soon, it's on to the next cache, Jacqueline's own. One of 60 she's placed around Metro Vancouver.
All right, it's like 10 meters away. It's on the safe side of the trail. All right, so base of a tree, base of a tree.
Oh, right here. Nice. Cool, all right.
I don't know, there's just something about going on a treasure hunt but not like taking anything. You just know that like you found it and it's still gonna be there and other people have found it. There's kind of like a history with that.
You get in touch with nature and you basically have that sense of spirituality and kind of calmness and serenity out here.
Metro Vancouver Parks want to encourage people to use their parks. What better way than by giving someone a purpose for their visit?
Metro Vancouver offers instruction in geocaching at various times throughout the year at different locations in its regional parks. Go to metrovancouver.org and search Check It Out for this season's brochure. Do you like spending time outdoors? Meeting new friends? Come help others enjoy our amazing park networks by volunteering at one of our Metro Vancouver regional parks. Become a Nature House attendant at Campbell Valley or do habitat restoration at Aldergrove Regional Park. Lend a hand at some fun events. There are many volunteer opportunities that need help from stars like you. For more information, ask for Jill or Roy at the Parks East Area office, 604-530-4983. Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our visit to Derby Reach Regional Park. Whether it's geocaching, going for a hike, or sitting at a picnic table, there's no doubt that even the simplest interaction with Mother Nature is good for you. The fact that it's good for your physical health is just one reason the Healthy Parks, Healthy People principle is central to Metro Vancouver's Regional Parks plan. In the fall of 2011, the second annual Healthy by Nature Forum took place in Vancouver. The forum presenters discussed the extensive evidence of the health and well-being benefits from spending time in nature.
We took a real risk in having the first International Healthy Parks, Healthy People Congress in Melbourne. 1,000 delegates from 37 different countries, and it was a real launching platform for not just in Australia but other countries to start to think and do things about the Healthy Parks, Healthy People philosophy.
The concept is integral to Metro Vancouver's regional park strategy, and as such, Metro Vancouver staff attended the conference.
What I found for this conference particularly has been really encouraging is that there have been more doctors here than I've ever seen before. We've had about 30, and not just doctors on the fringe. What we want is those who are mainstream doctors.
What we found is that consistently over a whole slew of different kinds of measures, that the more you're exposed to nature, the better your health is. And more importantly, the less you're exposed to nature, the worse your health is. You can be sitting, you can be outside reading, you could be outside playing soccer, you could be any of a number of activities, just spending time outside with friends and family at a picnic bench. Even those kinds of activities have clear benefits.
There's an absolute plethora of research which has been royally ignored in the healthcare circles that are more conventional, but is very, very powerful and really inescapable in its conclusion. We should be outdoors more.
But that's not all. It turns out that even looking outside has positive benefits too.
One of the interesting findings is people who are recovering from surgery in either a hospital room that has a view of a brick wall or has a view of just a little park area. And the people who have the green view are getting out of the hospital sooner, taking fewer and milder painkillers. The outcomes that have been associated with even very small differences in access to nature, such as a view versus not, they're really impressive.
Researchers believe getting children outside will pay off immediately, as well as down the road when fewer health problems develop.
It doesn't take much of a stretch to give kids the opportunity to spend time outdoors. It's us as adults who have failed to create the spaces for kids to be outdoors. We've simply structured the world to make the outdoors seem difficult to access, hard to get to, not always hospitable. We've given much of our outdoor space over to the automobile, and as a result, kids think, well, that's normal, and they simply follow along and do it. They may not do what their parents say, but they tend to do what society says.
We now know that nature generally relieves chronic stress. So just by looking at it, by being in it, by engaging with it, it actually relieves the stress. And stress is now being thought to be one of the key aspects for most conditions of Western society. So obesity, diabetes, dementia, depression, they've all got a connection to chronic stress.
The experts at this conference believe it's necessary to shift our healthcare spending away from focusing on treatment and onto preventing disease in the first place.
I see that the percentage of budgets dedicated to preventative health is going up. I think that's a really good sign. And so the nature industry, the parks industry have got to be smart about, okay, how do we work with the health industry to work on this whole preventative health wave that's going around the world?
One answer lies in forging a better connection between the health industry and the various levels of government that plan, design, and operate public park space.
Here we have two sectors that for many people seem miles apart. Health has nothing to do with regional parks for some people. Health is hospitals and doctors and stethoscopes and health professionals. Whereas there is actually a lot that health can do to achieve its goals by working with people in parks, but just working at the government level isn't going to achieve it. We're talking about getting people into those parks, cultivating healthy living, cultivating healthy lifestyles, having people engaged and recognising there are all sorts of connections between health and nature they can make in their lives.
If we can get people outdoors to become more active, then we know that we're going to get health benefits without any doubt whatsoever. There's no question about it. What we don't quite know is what kind of environment is best. What kind of prescription is it from a doctor to get people into nature? How does it work? Now, those are the questions we haven't got the answers to.
Check this out. A cantaloupe. Now, a plastic bag.
Kids, stop annoying the yard bin. Put all your food scraps and food-soiled paper into your yard waste bin, but no plastic bags, please.
Welcome back. Here at Derby Reach Regional Park, as we mentioned earlier, fishing on the Fraser River is a big draw. People will actually wait in line at 6 o'clock in the morning for their chance at one of these coveted spots along the river, where you can cast a line into the water right from shore. Of course, there wouldn't be salmon to fish for if it weren't for the hundreds of volunteers who work on salmon enhancement projects, many of them in our parks. Like Kanaka Creek Regional Park, for instance, which recently celebrated the opening of its brand new hatchery facility. It's a day that's been a long time coming for hatchery volunteers at Kanaka Creek Regional Park.
And of course they say time flies when you're having fun. So 32 years later, we've got a new facility that we're proud as heck to show off and make a commitment towards a unique experience for the future with our Stewardship Center.
Today's opening of the new hatchery is the first phase of the Kanaka Creek Watershed Stewardship Center project, which will eventually see a multi-purpose stewardship building and new outdoor educational features.
It's a spectacular, momentous day for us here in Kanaka. Everybody involved in the Watershed Stewardship Group, Keeps, and the Bell Irving Hatchery, and our partners through Metro Vancouver are just so honored to be celebrating the new Bell Irving Hatchery for our community of Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows.
The $1.3 million project started becoming reality in the fall of 2012 with the demolition of the old hatchery, a converted sheep barn that had reached the end of its life.
Put the fish in the water. See?
Where'd the fish going?
They went all the way down.
The opening of the new facility coincided with the annual Goodbye Chums event, when the public is invited to help release 10,000 salmon fry into Kanaka Creek.
Okay, no touch, you just look. I figured we'd get him into the conservation and, the awareness right away, because I'm a sport fisherman myself, so, we do what we can to keep it going for the little ones.
The Kanaka Education and Environmental Partnership Society, called KEEPS for short, has been operating the hatchery and releasing millions of salmon fry for decades.
Thank you.
Fundraising is now underway for Phase 2 of the project, the Stewardship Building.
If you want to achieve the maximum advantage out of the hatchery and the efforts to protect both the salmon and the habitat, then you need the Watershed Stewardship Center, which is Phase 2.
The Pacific Salmon Foundation, the Federal Fisheries Department, and the District of Maple Ridge, among others, are partners in the project. But it's also hoped the community will get involved.
Various fundraising efforts like runs, like cookie sales, a number of things have perhaps even more value in showing the communities behind a project and helping all of us, including the Pacific Parklands Foundation, approach major donors who could make much more significant contributions than individuals generally can.
Even though the economic climate isn't the easiest to fundraise for right now in the province or the Lower Mainland, with the partners and connections and the determination and the commitment to continue working towards that, I anticipate that within a year, by the end of 2014, we'll be ready with a blueprint to start breaking ground and starting to construct our new Watershed Stewardship Center, the Kanaka Center. Ooh.
When the new Stewardship Centre is finished, it will allow KEEPS volunteers and Metro Vancouver staff to not just continue their work in environmental education, but to expand on it. Go to pacificparklands.com if you'd like to learn more about the project or make a donation.
Hi, I'm Peter Lawrence, Park Interpreter for Metro Vancouver, and today I'm at Balcarra Regional Park. Have you ever heard the expression, life's a beach? Well, I'm here to tell you that life on the beach can be hard. High tide, low tide. Currents and crashing waves, all that water trying to pull you out into the ocean. What's a beach creature to do? The animals that live here have lots of tactics for staying put. Look here, these guys are stuck under the wharf. Mussels use tiny little ropes called bissel threads to stay stuck in place. And here's a sea star. They stay stuck by using hundreds of little suction cups lining each arm. This rock has barnacles and limpets living on it. The barnacles live in these little white shells. They're shrimp-like animals that cement their heads to the rock with nature's strongest glue. That's one of the reasons you shouldn't step on them, because they can't move out of the way. Limpets are volcano-shaped members of the snail family. They can carve themselves out the perfect little hollow and hold themselves down with 70 to 80 pounds per square inch of force. That's amazing! Strings, suction cups, or glue, there's lots of ways to stay stuck on the beach. Just don't let yourself get stuck by the rising tide or the sucking muds. And remember, wherever you are in the region, there's a park just waiting for you to explore. See you out there. Hello? Anyone? A little help?
Oh! Hi, you know, it's not all just fun and games in our parks. Behind the scenes, there's some important stewardship work taking place, sometimes by park staff and sometimes by volunteers. Here's a look at one project aimed at controlling invasive weeds using one of Mother Nature's little helpers. There's a hunt underway at Colony Farm Regional Park.
It's just over to the left, I think.
Metro Vancouver Park staff are searching for a weapon in the ongoing battle against invasive plants. Their target? The tiny Gallericella beetle.
This is a good patch, Cam.
Okay.
The enemy? Purple loosestrife, a highly invasive plant that once thrived here at Colony Farm.
If you looked around here, these fields would have just been full of purple loosestrife. So in the 90s, they tried releasing Gallericella beetles, which is a biological control, a little bug that eats only purple loosestrife. But after about 8 years, after they'd sort of maybe given up hope, they realized that it actually worked, and the beetles were doing their job, devouring all the loosestrife, and the landscape changed to what it looks like now.
Cam Bennett and his 2 colleagues are stewardship technicians. They are charged with facilitating public involvement in regional parks. Volunteers will be involved in rearing these tiny predators.
I think with regional parks, there's always a demand from the public to want to lend a hand. A lot of people do use the space, do appreciate the space, and they want to give back. And basically with Cam, Peter, and I, we are hoping to accommodate that interest and get people involved in these projects.
Part of today's mission is to dig up some purple loosestrife, not to get rid of it, but to actually encourage it to grow.
Get a load of how big the roots are. It's kind of ironic that we're actually digging up loosestrife and putting it in pots and trying to encourage it to grow and flourish so that beetles can eat it, because normally we're just trying to eradicate it.
Invasive plants are notoriously difficult to manage and control. Biocontrol is just another way of trying to control the invasive species, and I personally find it really interesting because instead of just digging something up, you actually get to try and play with the predator-prey relationships.
The beetles are being bred and raised in a tent at Burnaby Lake Regional Park. After placing the beetles in the tent, the next step is to simply let them breed and grow. After that, more loosestrife will be harvested when it's in bloom and when the larvae are hatching and hungry for food. And then finally, the adults will be released into regional parks where populations of loosestrife have been mapped out.
Part of our roles as stewardship technician is identifying it, going out there, mapping it, recording it, and then organizing a way of controlling and managing the invasive species, whether it's with volunteers or with a contractor or with park staff.
And there is no shortage of volunteers ready to lend a helping hand.
It allows you to give back to the community in a way that I think a lot of people really want to. So it allows you to restore and enhance habitats, so you're doing good things for the ecosystems and wildlife, as well as enhancing the opportunities for recreational users and other people in the parks to be able to really enjoy those spaces.
If the public's interested in volunteering at one of our events, they can go to meetup.com, search Regional Parks Connect, and on there are listed a bunch of volunteer projects that they can help us out with. Yeah, so check it out.
That's all we have time for in this episode. Please let us know what you thought about it. And we're always looking for more story ideas. You can reach us via email at sustainableregion@metrovancouver.org. And remember, you can watch and share our videos online anytime at metrovancouver.org/videos. For the Sustainable Region, I'm Candice Ng. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you soon in a regional park near you.